should be good to go.
Okay, I will call the meeting to order. It's 6:31. First item of business is the adoption of minutes for February 17th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Move adoption.
Moved by Lisa,
And I'll second it. It's Paul.
seconded by Paul. Any additions or corrections?
I wasn't at the meeting. I couldn't get in. You've got to save me.
Yeah, well, you can abstain though, okay?
Okay.
So, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Actually, Judy, we'll record you as an abstention. Since you weren't there.
Okay.
So it'll be 4-0-1. Got that, Karen?
Yes, I do.
Next item is correspondence, pending resident lawsuit.
Yes.
Joe just wants to provide notification that we got.
Yeah, so I sent all the information, the letter that was addressed to Chairman Howroyd, and a copy came to Manchester Housing Authority back on February 18th. So apparently, we at the Housing Authority were never notified until we received this letter from Kenny O'Keefe and Usagla attorneys at law in regards to one of our residents. The resident had never reported it to us of the incident that happened on December 23rd. Apparently that was probably 10 days after the last snowstorm that happened in December. So I've been working with our insurance provider to get more information, to find out what claims it was. Unfortunately, we don't have video surveillance from back there. We don't have a camera system back there. But as I indicated to the attorney, to our insurance provider, tenant never notified us about this claim. So we just don't know where this claim can go. But I just wanted to let the board know that Steve and myself have been working with our insurance provider, and hopefully they can provide us more information in regards to our participant who claims that she fell on our property. In which, I feel very confident that this has got to be, most likely a false accusation, because maintenance does a heck of a job in regards to snow removal, after, making sure everything is cleared away. And this was 10 days after a snowstorm. So during that whole time, there was no ice or snow, in regards to on the property, especially in the walkways or in the parking lots. But we just have to wait and see what the insurance company and or the attorneys will do in this case. So, I've been talking with Mike Rona in regards to this and our insurance provider. So we've been answering questions that they've given to us, and we're waiting to see what the responses are coming from the tenant's attorney. So I just wanted to let the board know about this.
Joe, did the insurance company assign an attorney yet for us?
Well, our attorney is Mike Rona.
No. I know that. But what happens is normally when you have an insurance policy, so you have, when you have an insurance policy, part of that policy is that there's an attorney that is going to defend the case free of charge. So you don't necessarily have to employ Mike as well
Right,
as.
I got you. I'm not 100%. Let me see who we've been responding to, if it's an attorney. Give me 1 second. Let me go to my emails over here, my phone. But we've been answering, no, because the questions we've been answering directly to the insurance provider.
I got it. That's why I'm asking if they assigned an attorney yet, because I would hate for us to have to pay Mike Rona to assist you in your responses and all that. If, the insurance company should have a duty under the insurance policy to provide us with counsel.
Correct. You're absolutely right. So they haven't assigned one yet. I guess they're waiting to see what transpires as of right now. So once I hear something, I will.
But the lawsuit's been filed, or they just send a letter?
They just
You-
sent a
you-
letter notifying us. I put a copy in your package of the
Okay,
general statute that they sent, that the marshal had given to us.
okay,
And,
It was, Paul, it was just a notice of injury at this
Okay.
point.
yep, I got it.
The marshal actually served me, because I said, shouldn't you be serving the executive director?
yeah, and
He
we,
said, no, the attorney said to serve you, because he was very nice and accommodating, because I wasn't home at the time, so he met up the next morning, so.
yeah,
Okay.
and they already came to us, so I already had the letter ahead of
Right.
time, so, yeah, so right now, Steve and I have just been responding back to, to our insurance company in regards to the claims so far, so we just don't know
Okay.
where it's gonna go.
Okay,
Question, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Becker,
Who is our legal agent for service? Do we have one listed?
you have to have one listed.
Are we incorporated on the Secretary of State?
I believe so.
Should have an agent for service listed there, no?
Yeah, there has to be one.
I'll try to find out. I was just curious because whoever that is should be the person that gets served, as far as I know. Is that correct,
for
Paul?
whatever reason.
Yep.
For what it's worth, the marshal said the attorney insisted that I serve you personally. That's all he said. So
Okay,
as soon as I got it, I got in the car and dropped it off. But Joe already had gotten a
I
copy.
already had the copy, correct, because the sheriff did come to the housing authority and Steve went to the door when they rang the doorbell and he signed for it and came directly to me. So, and I think that was a day or 2 days prior to Josh getting served.
Right. Whatever, okay. At this point, it's just a notice, but I think,
Right.
it didn't, there was some mention of the injuries. I don't know that it was,
Yeah, she claims that she fractured her left ankle, damage to her shoulders, lacerations of the right hand, and various bruises and soreness about her body.
okay,
But never reported to the housing authority. So I checked with Mary Ann to see if she got a phone call. I checked with Steve, who's the property manager at the time. No calls to him. I asked Nancy if she got any calls. No calls to her. So this tenant never notified the housing authority about falling down or anything else, even on that day. Well, she claims it happened at 5:30 on December 23rd. But never notified the housing authority the next day about it.
Joe,
Yes,
does she, I didn't read the whole letter, so does she mention exactly where she fell?
she's claiming that she fell in the parking lot. The incident this is the subject incident occurred in the resident parking lot, which is adjacent to her residence at 71K Bluefield Drive. So she didn't even say if she fell in her parking spot that it was assigned to her, because she is assigned a parking spot. So she did not mention if she fell in her assigned parking spot. So it was just very unclear of her claim per se.
Did she actually move her car so it could be cleared?
I
Or
don't,
did she fall on the ice next to her car because it wasn't moved?
that I wish I could answer.
Yeah, well, that's just my thoughts. I've been through these too, so,
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, Boomer, this was 10 days after the last snowstorm. So,
yeah.
as you see, when you do come to the office and, when Josh, these guys plow, sand, salt, everything,
Yeah, it's clear.
even cleans between cars once the cars do move out. So, Dave, the maintenance foreman and the group, they're always out there. So 10 days later, I would have to assume that it was totally clear that probably was no ice, because even first thing in the morning, if there was any icy things, that the guys are out there first thing in the morning, sanding the driveways and salting the driveways.
Yeah, and I've seen it, so.
Yeah. So,
well, if this goes beyond a simple insurance claim and is part of litigation, we'll discuss this several months down the road in executive session. But
Absolutely.
It may not come to that. It may just be settled by insurance.
Correct.
Okay, any other correspondence?
No.
Do you want to talk about what we just got today?
Well, I was gonna add that in towards the update of the RAD.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so we'll move on to item 4, accounts payable, the February 2021 payment summary and detail report.
So as usual, I think everyone likes the new format that we got from our new computer software, breaking down programs and payments and very more detailed report. Like usual, Boomer reviews the invoices that are being paid by our accounts payable department. And I take a look at, and I look at it and Josh looks at it. So you have 3 different sets of eyes on all these payments and nothing out of the ordinary. Probably just the one thing that's out of the ordinary and one of the payments for the past couple of months, we've had an enormous high water consumption at at Mayfair Gardens. In which I do have a call into Fran Taylor. We finally, had the meter changed out on Monday, and come to find out, the water consumption was not on our fault, but a faulty water meter, in which I'm talking with Fran, and that in the past couple of months, we've paid out close to $20,000 in the water, which the water department has been very nice, but come to find out, when I asked for, could it be a faulty meter? He didn't think it was, but come to find out, when we had numerous companies come out and with hearing devices and everything else, we could not find a leak at Mayfair Gardens. And talking with the company that came out on Monday to change the water meter, they were saying that they should have changed the water meter back in November when the high consumption was happening. So I will be having numerous discussions once again with Mr. Taylor to see what the town is willing to do. I do believe that we should be reimbursed for the payments that we made with the high water bills in regards to that. So the water department is now just going to be doing a couple meter readings per day to make sure that everything is working accordingly. So I'll keep the board abreast on that.
Okay, and I know that you've kept them abreast of all the efforts we've been taking to rectify the problem. So
Correct.
if perhaps we'll have a substantial credit on our water account.
Right, because we do have a bill right now. Cheryl, I told Cheryl to hold it. It's roughly another $5,000 water bill. And I kind of told her to hold off and not to make that payment until I saw what happened, and I got the clarification this morning. So I'm just waiting for a detailed report to come from this third party entity. I'm sure Fran in the water department will be getting a copy of that. So I'll be doing my due diligently duties and talking with Mr. Taylor in regards to this.
Thank you. Questions on that one, or anything on the accounts payable? No. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 5, the executive report and the financial statements.
Once again, here's the report that Mr. Cooley does. It looks very good. I think, the housing authority is doing a good job. Don't know if there was any questions when you reviewed it, but I can let Boomer go a little bit more into details. And if you have any questions, we can answer them for you.
Thank you, Joe and Mr. Chairman. The year-to-date gain or loss column is of interest because of two negatives in there. I want to point that out. The central office is negative only because we haven't booked the actual February fees yet, which is more than that loss would be from when I did this. So, and the loss that's in section 8 for the RNA, which is the HAP section, is all of course of the fact that we've been spending more money in HAPs than we are receiving from HUD. But as of March and April, we have been receiving, we will receive and Joe has seen this also, we're receiving about 20 to 40 grand more a month, which will in the next 3 months make up for that loss without a problem. One of the things that is causing the loss is we've been adding in the Section 8 payments for Spencer Village. And as we add those on, as part of our Section 8 program, which HUD does all their averages back about 6 months, so it takes a while to catch up with the money they advances. But the actual money they're putting into our reserve money is more than enough to cover it now. So what they're giving us may not cover it, but it's all there, and they will send us more on a monthly basis. The other thing, on the summary of income and expense, we're in good shape because it's like less than 40% of the overall expenses, while we're 40+% into the year. So that's all fine, and we're moving along well. So that's about it. Any questions, comments, or observations? One of my favorite statements.
Questions? Mr. Becker?
Just a question on the central office. Where do you see that will wind up in the next couple of months? When you book the.
I could do this too. I could do this one of two ways, Tim. I could actually, what Cheryl books the money into from like February fees, she books that like in the first week of March. So it's if all that was in there and I assumed it, I could actually put it in and show it as a gain. At the end of the year, no problem, because there's enough money in there to cover it. We get more than $17,000 a month in the fees that come in from the other programs. So I could actually accrue it and put it in or just add it as far as my statements go, and it wouldn't look like a negative. But I haven't done that. I've been using the actual books and statements as they come out. So that's why I want to mention that it's always 1 month behind, as far as the way we enter it. But I could accrue it and whatever you'd like me to do. My comment to you is there's not a problem there. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm not questioning how you do it. I guess let's say project it to say we get to September 30th. Are we going to be on the positive side?
If we gain less than $50,000 for the year, I would be very surprised.
Okay, but we won't be negative.
Right, correct.
Right.
But if we are, that's the one place we can afford to be negative, because there's enough money in the central office to cover it, and we will use the central office to take care of some other points along the way, so if we need to. But I would think it would not be negative. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Boomer, so if I'm reading it right, the income of $156,069, that's through 4 months of the fiscal year or 5 months?
It's through 5 months, but
Yeah.
you're right. Think of it as being 4 months because the way we enter it. So if you look at that 150 divided by 4,
it's
that's
40,000.
you can add it's about 40,000 a month we do. So
Yeah, okay. I think that's what Tim was getting at initially.
yeah,
So, when it gets posted, we would probably have a net gain of over $20,000
correct.
when the information gets posted.
Right.
A net gain, so give or take a little. Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, we're going to move on to the vacancy reports.
Yeah, so I just late this evening from Steve. So just to let people know, so as of today, we've have a total of 2 vacancies at Mayfair Gardens, 8 vacancies at Bluefield Drive, and 1 of our scattered sites. But out of the 8 vacancies at West Hill Gardens, especially 2 out of the 3 that were way over 100 days. Finally, Steve has been able to get those leased up. So on the report, they're on here, but they are getting leased up because of how the computer works. So at least 2 of the 3 high dates are being taken off. So it was kudos that finally, one thing, the Corey's have been coming back late from the state. So at least we finally were able to get those leased up. The other one that's over 100 days, it's 104 days old. It is a 2-bedroom unit. Steve does have somebody, but we are just waiting for the Corey's to come back on that. So I can say that I think now with spring being upon us, people who've been probably getting their vaccinations are starting to be, not worry free, but are willing to start moving and all that stuff. So I would say that I'm hoping that at least for next month that we'll probably be somewhere getting back to our normal, that you see 2 or 3 vacancies, but we should probably not be having these large vacancy numbers. But hopefully the Corey situation comes back in a positive, comes back earlier than later. Before they used to come back within a day or 2. Now it's been averaging over 10 days to get the information from the state in regards to the Corey's.
Po- Possible to share that on the screen?
Uh,
We don't have it, do we?
no,
we
I
don't.
got it late because my scanner was not working. And what I can do, Tim, I can scan this when I'm in the office tomorrow and send it to you.
That would be fine. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, I just my desktop, my desk jet is going on the kaput, so I think I time to get a new one. I think I've been overworking and printing it here at home, so it's time to get a new one, so I can do all these scanning and printing. So yeah, I'll make sure I get this out, and it's got the little notes of what's going on. So
You
absolutely,
just, yes, send it. You probably send it to all the members.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, not that this is germane necessarily to the vacancy, other than the fact that I know the American Rescue Plan enacted by Congress, I believe extends out some of the eviction moratoriums and so forth. I believe it does.
Yeah, so I was on a call today, almost a 2-hour call in regards to that today. So it was very interesting, and there's a couple scenarios. So in regards to that, with the state of Connecticut, in which I was on that call at 2:00. So through the Department of Housing, since Monday, people have been able to go online and start filling out the applications. I just received the contract. So basically, in regards to our residents who are eligible under the process now, they are saying that housing, for us and, housing, people that are receiving public assistance or individuals that are just regular rentees, if landlords are willing, they are able to collect the last 6 months and possibly up to 3 months after, the next 3 months. But they're saying that instead of getting 100%, here in the state of Connecticut, they are only going to be giving out 85%. And they are asking landlords to forgive the 15% and to forgive anything that was prior to the 6 months. That, I was probably going to be, once I got more information, I was probably going to bring this up at next month's board, because
Yeah.
I think this is more a board decision and not a decision that I should be making because when you're talking about forgiveness of X amount of dollars, we are a landlord, and I don't know if we should be doing that. Some of my colleagues have reached out to me this evening about this plan. And, I will be once again on the phone with the department, not as the ED of Manchester Housing, but as the president of Conero to represent all the housing authorities in regards to this. As far as I'm hearing right now from my colleagues in the housing, they don't want 85%. They are looking for the full 100%. But I'm like, this is not my game. It's the state statute that's saying 85%. But I think that's something that I need to talk more or get more information and bring that to the board and have you decide if you don't want me to go through the evictions and forgive these individuals and everything else.
That, this is a state program, but it would apply to all our properties?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'd have to see what the numbers look like.
Right.
before I could get-
Joe?
This
Go
sounds
ahead,
like,
Tim.
this sounds like like a taking, doesn't it? I mean,
So,
how can they demand landlords not charge the full rent? That doesn't sound at all legal.
It's I agree with you, Tim. But this is what they're saying is you can take it or try to go through the courts for the eviction. Everything is coming through the Treasury Department. But the final say is each state makes their own guidelines and recommendations. So I just do not know if this is just coming directly through the commissioner's office, Commissioner Bruno, or if this is, I think it's like coming more from the governor's office and his team that came up with the 85% and having landlords forgive 15%. But, if you have people that owe you 1 year, they're telling you forgive six months at 100%. And then the next 6 months you'll get paid, but you forgive 15% of it. And you're going to get 85%. And then you may be eligible for up to 3 months afterwards. And that same thing at 85%.
Joe, is this, so just so I'm clear, I didn't see that or hear anything about that today. So is this in addition to what the states are doing? For example, here in Connecticut, they just opened up another round of rental assistance for tenants that are behind. So we actually, in our office here, we had a tenant that was behind. She applied for the up to 6 months of rental assistance. Is this a federal program that's in addition to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is basically now it's on its website, so it's called United CT. I just got some information about 4:30, 5 o'clock, Paul. So I'll send that to you. I'll send it to all the board with the agreements that's attached to it. So if a landlord wants to accept to do it, there's the agreement in there, and I think it's got some more literature. Conero is putting on a session, I want to say March 24th or 25th, in which the new person for this United CT is supposed to be doing a 1-hour presentation. But I can get you the information that they have. I don't, this is something that's coming from the state. So before, as you know, there was the THRAP, the Tenant Rental Assistance program. So the program that you talked about back in December, that was one of the things that they were talking about was the 6 months. So this is hot off the press right now that just came out. So I think even the ones that you did before, Paul, I think this new program is going to supersede it, in which they're probably going to tell you it's 85 and 15, have the landlords take 85% and waive the other 15%. That's the way I took it today.
Boomer wanted to add a question.
Oh,
or a
sure.
comment.
Thank you, Josh. I don't like to interrupt when I don't have to, but my thought was in the federal programs, Joe, I wonder if we could use this extra money, that 6 months or that 15%, could that be used as a COVID expense?
Well, that was a question I raised to Suzanne today. And of course, she's looking for guidance because they haven't given her any guidance as of yet. So,
It's not in anything, yeah, so.
no, so everything is so vague from the Treasury and everything else. And, same thing, the question that was raised to Suzanne is that the HUD is coming out with these, I don't want to call it homeless vouchers, but it's to, I forgot what the name that they were calling the homeless initiative vouchers, in which people could be eligible from now until September of 2023. In which housing authorities who has a Section 8, HUD is going to be giving these housing authorities X amount of vouchers to utilize to prevent people to be evicted or homeless. Now, I have some concerns about that because you have people on the wait list. So is it going to be a whole new wait list? How is this going to work? And HUD has not given any guidance on how this is going to work. So everything is coming through the pipeline, but with no recommendations. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this plays out and everything else.
Joe, is there anything else in the federal legislation that's a positive for housing authorities? Is there any new funding stream in there?
There is, as far as I hear, there is nothing right now. They just keep on talking about the emergency rental and, trying to prevent people. There are 2 lawsuits that are out there now in Texas and in Ohio in regards to the CDC moratorium that, that is supposed to expire at the end of this month. We still don't know if the governors or, what the federal government is going to be looking to, if they're going to extend it once again. But there's all this money that they're pumping into this emergency rental assistance to try to help individuals and landlords, get them not evicted. But it's a lot of confusion that's going on. And I think what it is, in no due disrespect, this money's going, and it's not going to the practitioners who knows how to use the money and how to operate it. So you're not getting the right stories or how to do things. So I think it's going to be a very interesting few more days or the weeks to come in regard to where the Treasury Department is planning on going, and along with HUD. So basically, the Treasury Department is who's making all the calls, and then I guess they give it to the states, and then the states are making the final decisions.
Okay, well, we'll stay tuned on that front if there's any board action down the road that we need to take advantage of, because I think it is clearly a policy decision that we'd want to weigh in on.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, any other questions on where are we, vacancy? If not, we're going to move on to item 5C, general information. First one is the FADA 2021 annual conference,
Yeah.
virtual.
Yeah, just wanted to let people know of the upcoming FADA conference, which will be a virtual conference on May 17th and 18th. If you are interested, to please let me know. It is free of charge for our members, this conference. So if you are interested, let me know. I will sign you up for this conference and everything else. So just want to always keep the board abreast of upcoming conferences from our agencies.
Yeah, thank you. Next one is item 2, the Spencer Village Revitalization Project update.
Yeah, so I'm glad to say that we're almost 50% done already at Spencer Village, in which Spencer
Wow.
Village 1 We are the contractors will start the last building beginning on Friday of this week, in which it will take about 3 weeks to get complete. So I would say by the middle of April, Spencer Village 1 would be fully revitalized. And basically by doing that, we would have all 25 of our project-based vouchers leased up. Money will be, streamlined in there. And, work is going on. I've been having some numerous calls in which trying to try to get some more additional funds per se, to see if we can get some additional things done on that property. But tenants, when I was down at the property this past Thursday, of course, some of them were praising, they were happy, and some of them's like, couldn't you do more to the units? But I think a lot of and especially Josh we had to go back and forth. We were looking to do a full gut job and everything else, but then unfortunately the state had told me to revise it and take things away, in which I had to cut back about $1.5 million in the project. But it's getting there. But kudos with DeMarco management, and kudos to Mary Ann and assisting with the families and keeping them all abreasted. I did. I'm just waiting. Hopefully on Friday, ShopRite will have my $25 gift cards that I will have to give out to each of the residents and for appreciation and thank them for being patient and everything else. So it's getting there. And, I did attach the timeline and everything else, but the way they're going, they're way ahead of, I would say they're ahead of schedule. And very happy to see Pioneer Builders keeping to their end on this project.
That's great project to be doing during the winter too. I guess despite that it's been cold, we haven't had the extreme storms other than early February where we
Yeah.
had.
So, and they've been working very hard. So I got to give them kudos. Great team.
Nice. Any questions on Spencer Village? If not, item 3 is the congregate update.
Yeah, as everyone knows, the congregate has been fully complete. We're hoping to, start the closing process and get the closing documents, which will take a couple of months. So the project is done, and now we're just trying to finalize all the necessary paperwork, closing out, having the accountants go through all the paperwork, making sure all the money was dispersed correctly. So all the checks and balances through CHFA and all the parties. So there will be the final closings hopefully within the next couple of months. So congregate is fully done, complete, and we're just trying to finalize the final paperwork, in which it takes a few months to do. So I'm just pleased and thanking that everything is all situated there, and hopefully with the weather being nicer soon, I can get Mr. Becker out there to take some nice pictures when we do have a vacant unit, and we can get those pictures posted up on our website.
Yeah. Tim?
Are all punch list items completed to your satisfaction on this project?
They are. So now it's just all the players finalizing all the stuff. So we utilized the money that was given. There's just one thing that that still needs to be done, but it was not part of the project. But we still have a little issue with the chimney, in which we're trying to get different quotes on trying to get the chimney corrected and everything else. So that will be coming out of our general funds, out of the congregate. But other than that,
Wasn't there an issue with one of the bathrooms or something you were looking into last month?
So the bathroom was all completed and it's in their hands in regards to the, I'm leaving it up to CHFA that they will be negotiating to get that money back because we paid it out of hands. So that would be during the final closing. So, I can't, I do not know what CHFA will do. It's their call now. It's their calls against the contractor. Contractor saying that was not their faults, but there's plenty of emails that are going back and forth and all that stuff. So basically letting the CHFA attorney deal with it with their attorneys.
Excellent. All right. Nice work on this. You
Yeah.
really were persistent on getting this done, and thanks for hanging in there.
Well,
Yeah.
it's my pleasure. And, I think everyone knows, I did it for the residents and, it's kudos to what they've done. And I felt really bad for that, tenant that lives in that apartment. But, I got it done. I got to say, the vendor, oh my God, Best Bath, tremendous people to work with. When they asked me to take videos and everything else, I showed them all the ponding and everything else, and they were very thankful and they saw and they were very good to work with, and I got to give kudos to them. And they're like, Joe, it looks like it's it's probably a defect in there. But they sent out a new one, but then, we did notice that the contractor says it was installed incorrectly. But I got to give kudos to it all. So, it was great talking and made new friends, business partners and everything else. So it worked out for the best.
Yeah. And not related to the revitalization project, but we did have the vaccination clinic there 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And approximately 30 residents, was it?
There was 4 residents that did not accept the vaccinations. But yeah, at least majority of the majority of the residents, all the maintenance staff and the employees were able to get vaccinated. Kudos to Mary Ann, assisting and helping out. And Mary Ann and I are still working with the town and with First Choice in trying to get vaccination, trying to get the mobile crisis to our properties to get the vaccinations to the rest of our residents. To be continued, but I had given some of the stories to our town officials and shown how other housing authorities in Connecticut and I did, with my friends in Massachusetts, giving them news clippings and showing how the mobile crisis units had gone to these different housing authorities to give out the vaccinations and all that stuff. And, I know everyone's fighting and, to get these vaccinations and, no disrespect. I love teachers and all that stuff. But, now by bumping up the teachers, the residents that are elderly and frail and disabled, they're, some of them were not able to get their vaccinations, and it would be very nice if they can get it. Kudos, like I said, to Mary Ann and assistant in trying to get, hopefully we can get the vans up and to our properties to get the residents vaccinated.
Well, so the overwhelming majority of the residents of the congregate have been vaccinated.
Correct.
Some had already been vaccinated on their own initiative.
I think there was 1 or 2 that were vaccinated prior to, but at least the majority of them. And you can't force individuals to take
No.
the shots. So you can only try to educate them, and all that stuff. So, if they do change their minds, we did get the commitment from First Choice that they will come out to do an individual shots if they did change their mind. So, kudos to them.
Great. Okay. Moving on, the next one is RAD update, C4, RAD update.
Yes, so I wanted to I sent a copy of a letter that I had to send to HUD Washington, because they were looking for more information from us in regards to how we wanted to do the 3 phases. As you may recall, when we had Nathan on about 2 meetings ago, we were looking at how we can generate with the different proposals that HUD has established, and everything else. So we had put this in writing, submitted it to HUD, and they have come back and forth in regards to what we need to do. During this time, until prior to 9:56 this morning, that I was on the phone, Nathan and I were on it because one of the things was that the Hartford field office had a little concern saying that, basically from our scattered sites, since Lisa Drive, we have 8 properties, 8 duplexes there, and there are 2 single families that we did not own over there, that they're considering Lisa Drive not to be scattered sites because of the proximity of each units, and so forth. So Nathan and I are trying to fight this out right now, to say they are duplexes, they have their own meters, they have their own HVAC, but HUD is saying because of the proximity of each building, it would not qualify. If we don't win this case, basically what it looks like is, based on the numbers, if instead of us going through the section 18 blend, we're probably going to be out roughly $30,000. We were looking to get more than, our bang for the buck. If we're not able to do that and we have to go with the regular RAD, it's about a $30,000 difference, in which I don't want to say it's a big deal, but basically by going RAD, it's going to be very beneficial for the housing authority. So we are going to try to work with this and see if we can get our bang for the buck. So prior to that, as I was mentioning, at 9:56 this morning, I get a letter, an email from HUD, that they've accepted our application, for the RAD. And now I do have a call with them tomorrow, to discuss it more. So I will be sending a copy out of the letters to all the board. Like I said, I got it this morning, and I did share the news to Josh, in regards to that, in which I will send it tomorrow, with the approval letter. So I am very pleased and proud to say we are going forward with the RAD, and all that stuff. So HUD has given us the blessing.
Okay, well, that's progress. So is the next step going to be, at what point does the board have to take some sort of formal action?
I
Still
believe
got some loose ends.
Yeah, I believe it, next month, because this is a thing. So I got the meeting tomorrow. So I'm probably going to have Nathan. We'll probably do more of a presentation or more of an update of what's going to be happening next, at the next month's board meeting. Since this was just hot off the press, I didn't think it was going to be this. I sent the letter on March 11th, and then 6 days later, I got the commitment letter from HUD, saying we've been awarded.
Right. And HUD doesn't do anything fast.
No. That is, but
Okay.
I think, with HUD, in regards to this, they're looking to, get a lot of housing authorities, under this RAD transactions and everything else. So I think it was a very, very good news this morning in regards to that. So it was very timely between all my calls and the calls
Yeah.
with HUD last week, within the past week. So it should be very excited.
Okay, there may still be a few loose ends to tie up before board action.
Yes.
Okay, anything else on the RAD? If not, we'll move on to the Hillstown Road report. And I
Yeah,
guess,
this is the regular report, so, right, next month, there will be the disbursement of expenses to the town, with the money that we've received minus the, any, expenses that we have, and the town will get their quarterly check from MHA.
but the other update is that Joe and I, must have been 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, um, had a Zoom meeting with the town manager and Tim O'Neill from the town attorney's office to kind of discuss how we're going to deal with Hillstown Road going forward and whether or not we need to formalize an agreement. It was a very positive and constructive dialogue. I believe as a consequence of our discussion, I think we may have spurred the town into action to potentially sell the residents. But that would require some work on their part to re-subdivide the property, because they do want to retain some of the cemetery land, and also they would like to provide a new access to the soccer fields, which would require a reconfiguration of the property. When Tim and I approved on the board of directors back in 2002, it was the purchase of two properties. One is about 9 acres that includes the residence, and the other was about 2.5 acres, which was kind of a vacant parcel. But the town would like to try to subdivide out the house itself onto a smaller plot. But I think what the thinking is they want to take advantage of a hot real estate market to market that property. But the important thing is, I think if we thought that this was going to go on for a longer period of time, there certainly was a willingness to formalize an agreement. But my sense was both the town manager and Tim O'Neill thought, given the fact that we think this may be only be going on through some point in 2021, that we'll keep doing what we're doing. But clearly there's an agreement that if any issues come up regarding that property, I think both Mr. Shanley and Tim O'Neill have an understanding where we're coming from. So like I say, Joe, you correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a very positive meeting. So
No, I agree with you, Josh. It was very formative, and I think they were very appreciative. And I think both Tim and I think they believe what needs to be done. So I think Scott and Tim did a tremendous, and I think you're right. They're looking to, cut the parcel and sell the house, especially with the market being strong. So, it's moving. I think it's moving in the right direction.
and we made it clear that we wouldn't be offended that we be out of the property management business regarding that property. But we do net a few $100 a month off it, but that's, the potential for headaches may far outweigh the gains associated with that.
Right.
Tim? You're on mute, Tim.
just regarding the fund balance.
Mhm.
Assuming basically the town sells that parcel, we're no longer managing that property. Do those funds, the 20,000 approximately, become just unallocated resources for the housing authority?
No, that will be that will be going back to the town. So we held that little cushion. So just in case if there had to been any renovations, that there was a pot of money that we could use.
Well, let me ask you this. Do we withdraw our fee, our 10% fee every month?
Cheryl does that every 3 months. So before she does the
Okay.
check and all stuff, she does all the balancing and all that stuff. So she does that on a quarterly basis.
Oh,
Okay, so those funds would return to the town of Manchester then?
Correct. So
Okay,
you know, just hold as a cushion. So in case if there was a $10,000, I'm just using that number. You know, if there
yeah.
was a $10,000 job, that, you know, as you see, they get a check for like $3,000 on a quarterly. So it would take us 6 months, no, 9 months to recoup that money. I rather,
Right.
you know, the housing authority shouldn't be putting out the money of a town property. So that's why we have that little cushion per se.
Okay, I just didn't know if that was accrued, um, whatever, rental management fees,
No,
that belong to us or belong to the town.
that belongs to the town.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
No, thanks for that clarification. So I assume that the 10% management fee quarterly goes into the COCC? Is that?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, no other questions on Hillstown Road. We'll move on to item C6, the COVID expense report.
Yeah, so the numbers on the COVID expense really hasn't changed lately. We haven't done any major purchases. You know, we still have 9 months to go. But I will be spending, I won't be, you know, I will be spending the rest of the money accordingly to what we can do. So one of the things that you know, I didn't want to spend the money as of right now. But that could be money that I could use to purchase more cameras. So you know, I can do that. So I'm probably gonna be waiting until the summertime to see what else that we may need to do to benefit and use that money. Because whatever funds we don't use, it will go back to the federal government. So you know, I will use the money wisely for ourselves and everything else.
Very good. Questions? Seeing none, we're gonna move on to the chairman's report. Do I have any report? The only thing I don't is we haven't gotten, I guess I'll raise this issue under the chairman's report. I don't believe we've gotten any formal announcement from NERC Narrow, but it appears that they are going to have their annual conference this year up in Manchester, Vermont in June. Is that correct, Joe? That they put out a hold the date? Or
It's-
is it?
It's hold the date. I do have a meeting tomorrow, since I do chair the PD committee on this. So tomorrow, so here's what's going on. I do have a meeting with the rest of the New England board, along with the management team of the Equinox Hotel up in Vermont. The problem is that right now, under the contract, you know, we were supposed to let them know by March 5th if the conference was going to be going on. As you know, day by day, you know, my thing was because we did not know where we were going to be, how people's health is going to be, the vaccinations, what was going to be the travel restrictions. Tomorrow we have the meeting with the hotel in which we're trying to figure out, is there a drop dead deadline that we can do? one of the things is I don't want to have NERC Narrow be responsible for $30,000 or $40,000 and we don't have the conference because we have to back out. There has been some regionals and parts of the country that they could not get out of the hotel in which they lost the money, in which, you know, when you're talking $40,000, that's a big chunk of change. So yeah, hold the date. We are talking, you know, same thing, you know, one thing like in Massachusetts, you know, if people have been vaccinated, they are able, you know, as you know, people are able to travel, but when they come back, if you've been fully vaccinated, you do not need to get a COVID test. Here in the state of Connecticut, the ban is that beginning on March 19th, Governor Lamont's team is saying is that it's recommended, even though if you had your 2 shots, it's recommended that you could, you know, that you should still get your COVID testing per se. So it's state by state. Up in Vermont, as of right now, they are allowing people to go into Vermont. If you've been vaccinated, you know, fully vaccinated, you do not need to self-quarantine for the 10 days while you're there or when you come back to your home, to your state. So each state has got the different guidelines. So, you know, I know everyone's trying to get back into person, and everything else. So, could it happen? There could be a possibility that it does happen, but I can't guarantee it. I'll probably know more tomorrow.
Okay.
There could be a good possibility, and you know, and it would be June. I think it's June 15th through the 17th or something like that is the dates.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I thought they were putting out the save the date, because I didn't want to, sorry, I jumped the gun a little
Yeah,
bit.
no, it's save the date, so it's, you know, if it's not going to be in person, it will be virtual,
Yeah.
per se, but it's going to be one or the other. But you know, it's the same thing with the Con-Nero convention in August. You know, I
Right.
do have a meeting with Mohegan Sun next week, to discuss the Con-Nero convention. Um, that which we think likely that could be the first convention that will happen in person, but I just don't know.
Okay. I mean, given the numbers of vaccinations in Connecticut and the pace and the fact, the widespread availability by, you know, May and June, that may enter into the thinking. Plus, at least Governor Lamont has kind of, his guidance has been evolving, and it will continue to do so in terms of like quarantining and so forth. So we'll see. It's hard to project out in the future. I think if you know, a year ago, what would we have thought we were still having this conversation today?
Right.
Probably not. But okay. So much for Chairman's report. Move on to old business, the executive director's contract. I did email out the draft version last month. I didn't hear back from anyone, but it does reflect, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, it reflects what we discussed back in January in executive session.
Yes.
To essentially give a pay adjustment and a contract extension to Joe. So Judy, we did, for your information, we had another salary assessment done by Rick Lico, looking at where Joe's salary stacked up versus other similar sized, well, other housing authorities in Connecticut, and
Okay.
what the market fared. And at that point, the board came to the conclusion that he was due another salary adjustment. And we also are following the same lead we did 2 years ago, where we extend out his contract So he had a 5-year contract. We're 2 years into that. We'll essentially redo the contract, so it'll be a clean slate with 5 years going forward. So the terms are exactly the same with the adjustment on the salary side. Is that correct, Joe?
That is correct.
Okay,
Thank you.
so we do have, under new business, we have a resolution to adopt that contract. And so I don't know if anybody has any questions, but we did hash this out in executive session in January.
Mhm.
Would you like me to move it?
No, we'll wait till we get to we have to deal with pest control before Joe,
Okay.
under new business, because the way they put the resolution number. So, sorry, Joe, you're behind pest control.
No,
So
no problem.
So we'll move on to new business, which is resolution 2021-2, which is to enter into a 2-year contract with pest control.
Yeah, so just want to let you know that I went out with with an RFP. Unfortunately, I went out twice. The first time when we went out, we only had 2 respondents, in which, speaking with Niles from John D'Amelio, who handles our modernization, I said, let's go out once again, because I like to get at least 3 proposals out there. So we did go out once again. And we just got back 2 proposals in which there was a new entity that came in, and one that had put in for the first time did not reapply, and everything else. So I'm glad to say that based on the 2 RFPs that we went out, and looking at the proposals, I am recommending that we award A&A Pest Control a 2-year contract for the pest control services. Right now, we do use A&A Pest Control for the past 2 years. They have done a tremendous job, and they came in and lowered the price from what they had. So I'm very happy going out with the RFPs and seeing what we get back. So I'm very happy to recommend A&A Pest Control for a 2-year contract.
Okay, is there a motion? Question, Tim. You're on mute, Tim.
Do you just put the RFP up on our website, or do you send out letters to possible bidders? What's the process in
Well,
that?
it's, I put it on our website so people can download it. It does go into the Hartford Current and the Journal Inquirer. And we do send out packages to the pest control. So, you go out there and you try everything else. I will be going out, effective April 1st. Another RFP will be going out, in which will be our attorneys, because of our, last time I put the RFP was 5 years ago. And, on April 1st, the RFP will be going out for attorney services. So I will send it, via email to the court, individuals I sent out 5 years ago. And I'm sure Niles will be sending it out to his list of contacts of attorneys throughout the state of Connecticut, and it will be published in the Hartford Current, and it will be up on our website. And of course, Conero would be also advertising the RFP. So they do go out numerous different locations. You try to have people bid on it, and everything else.
Everybody had their fair chance to bid. They just chose not to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are there other questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved. This is Tim.
Second,
Moved by
it's Lisa.
Tim, seconded by Lisa. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Chair votes aye is 5-0. Okay, moving on to resolution 2021-3, to enter into a 5-year contract with the executive director. I did distribute that. I will make one technical correction to what I had sent around last month, which is to update the February dates to March. If that's considered a technical correction, because initially, when we did the draft, we were assuming we were gonna execute the contract in February. But since we're doing it in March, we will make it effective upon signature, which if I can work that out with Joe, could be as early as tomorrow. Probably Friday at the latest. So let me go back to-
I'll be in the office. I'll be in the office tomorrow and Friday.
Okay, well, we,
Just a point of information, we agreed that this contract would be retroactive to January
Yeah.
1 of this year.
correct. That is correct.
Regarding the salary, yes.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So the salary adjustment will be that, which is the exact same thing we did last time when we did the contract extension. So, yeah, so you would be approximately 2.5 months retro, or however Cheryl processes payroll, it may be 3 months retro by the time we do it, but yes, so
I'll move it.
Joe,
I'll-
I will print out a clean version of that and can come by to sign.
Yeah, that's fine, Josh.
Assuming we have board approval, obviously.
So
Um,
would you like me to move it now with
I
that
would-
technical?
Yes, go ahead, Lisa.
Okay, I'll move adoption of it with the
Okay,
March technical
correct.
change.
Yeah. I'm gonna write it as effective March 18th, Joe.
Sure.
So that extends things out to March 18th, 2026. And I believe there's actually, there's another option beyond 2 years beyond that too, so that goes out. I'll double check all those, make sure I got all. those.
Sure, that's no problem.
But that's technical, it's following the same format of the current contract. Is there a second to resolution 2021-3? Is there a second?
This is Judy. I'll second it.
Seconded by Judy. Thank you, Judy. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. It is 5-0. Thank you. Brings us to items for future agenda. So I think, Joe, we may have RAD as early as next month.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely have, because I have the conversation, so I'm definitely, I probably will have Nathan on for next month. So if it's okay, we'll move him up on the top
Yeah.
of the meeting. So I would definitely have I'd like to give you, the board, a more up-to-date where we stand with the RAD transaction. And the other items for future agenda will be is probably the pending lawsuit, if there's anything that comes out of it.
Okay. But we may actually take action on RAD as early as next month. Maybe if not, we'll have a more comprehensive update.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Tim?
Chairman, it's not necessarily an item for future agenda, although it may be for our nonprofit. Our nonprofit's called Manchester Housing Corporation. Is that correct? I was perusing the Secretary of State's Concord system. And our corporation's listed there, but it says annual report due date April 4th, 2018. apparently we've neglected to file our annual report, and there's no listing of who the officers are either. So I don't know who handles that. Michael Rona is listed as agent for service, but I don't know if you could check with Attorney Rona and see if we can get that
Yep.
updated. I put in Manchester with an asterisk, and there's like numerous pages, so I haven't found the Housing Authority one yet, but I did notice that one is in need of updating.
Okay, good catch. Okay, any other items for future agenda? If not, as you know, you can always contact Joe or myself to get something on. Joe, no executive session?
No.
Very good. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll
Moved by
second it.
Tim- Moved by Tim, seconded by Lisa. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Chair votes aye, and it is 7:47. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Josh.
All right.
Thank you.
Good
Okay,
meeting.
Joe, you can turn us off.
Congratulations,
glad we got-
congratulations, Joe.
I'm glad we got Hillstown somewhat resolved.
Yeah, that,